Where am I? Ah! What's happening to me? Why am I in this little globe? What's happened to my body?
Run. This is God.
What?
This is God, Ren the Barbarian.
Why do you look like Spider-Man?
I can take whichever form I please. Listen to me, Ren. You are dead.
What?
Your soul has been trapped inside this orb.
How did I die?
You spent too much time in your bed rotting and looking at TikTok till you rotted away permanently.
Oh, God.
Yes?
Oh, no, I didn't mean you, God. I just meant, oh, God, what a lame way to die.
Indeed. However, there is hope.
I'll do anything.
You must complete your next Star Trek review.
Oh. You sure you don't want me to, live in the desert for 40 days, or sleep in a lion's den or something?
No, just a video will do.
Yeah, but, that's so much prep work, and I have to make myself get up, and then I have to take a shower, and...
Executive dysfunction is real and valid, and everyone goes through it. But bitch, seriously, you've been keeping us waiting for a real video for over 9 months.
9 months? Are you serious? Jesus, I have been rotting a long time.
Complete the video, Ren the Barbarian. Complete it, and your soul will be released, your body reformed.
What's the alternative?
Hell.
I mean, I live in America in 2025. That's a lateral step.
Just do it.
Okay! The Enterprise has followed a mysterious signal to an Earth-like planet that's been dead for centuries. Then, a voice speaks telepathically to the crew, emanating from an energy signature deep under the planet's surface.
Your probes have touched me, Mr. Spock.
Oh my.
This Sargon asks the Enterprise crew to send a landing party down. Holy shit, Dr. Pulaski? However, Sargon leaves the 2 red shirts behind and only brings down the Triumvirate and the Woman of the Week. In the underground chamber, they find that Sargon is a glowing yellow orb full of energy. Apparently, Sargon's original organic body was destroyed when his mind became too powerful for physical form, and his essence was stored safely in a capsule so his mind could live on. Kirk is then overtaken and possessed by the spirit of Sargon, leading to some Razzie-caliber acting from the Shatman.
Lungs filling there again. To see again.
God, this place is a fucking dump. Has it looked like this the whole time? Sargon asks Spock and Dr. Mulhall to let his other 2 remaining kinsmen inhabit their bodies so they can experience life as organic beings again. The only problem is, Kirk's human body is already being pushed to its limit to hold Sargon's essence, and it will surely burn out before too long. Sargon suggests he and his compatriots borrow the crew's bodies just long enough to construct android bodies to live in. Against Bones and Scotty's hesitations, Kirk, Spock, and Mulhall are willing to be the vessels for the aliens. And this is where we get Kirk's famous monologue about risk. Probably my favorite monologue from any episode of Star Trek. Okay, second favorite. They used to say if man could fly, he'd have wings. But he did fly. He discovered he had to. Do you wish that the first Apollo mission hadn't reached the moon? Or that we hadn't gone on to Mars and then to the nearest star? That's like saying you wish you still operated with scalpels and sewed your patients up with catgut like your great-great-great-great-grandfather used to. I'm in command. I could order this. But I'm not, because Dr. McCoy is right in pointing out the enormous danger potential in any contact with life and intelligence as fantastically advanced as this. But I must point out the possibilities. The potential for knowledge and advancement is equally great. Risk. Risk is our business. That's what the starship is all about. That's why we're aboard her. After Kirk's rousing speech, they go ahead with the transference. Kirk is the vessel for Sargon, and Mulhall houses the essence of Sargon's lover, Thalassa. Despite their happy reunion, it's clear that neither human body is equipped for long-term possession. The third entity, Hinoch, however, is quite comfortable in Spock's body, since Vulcan physiology seems to be better suited for hosting a second consciousness. This episode allows Leonard Nimoy to be a lot more smiley and loose than his usual performance as Spock provides. Hinoch formulates a serum that will help Kirk and Mulhall's body adjust to the change, but Chapel immediately clocks that the formula set aside for Sargon is different. Hinoch does a Vulcan mind trick on her brain to make her do his bidding. So Hinoch pretty much immediately reveals that he's a villain who wants to keep Spock's body, get rid of Sargon so he can do his own evil shit, and have Thalassa to himself as a bonus. Somehow, during the treatments, Bones never catches it. He's probably drunk again. Hinoch begins to convince Thalassa that maybe keeping these flesh and blood vessels isn't such a bad idea, and she in turn tries to talk Sargon into it, when Sargon suddenly collapses, the faulty formula finally having taken its toll. Sargon is dead, and Jim's consciousness is trapped in the orb with no way to transfer it back into its body. Hinoch shows Thalassa the androgynous artificial body that's been built for her, and Thalassa doesn't want to live in it. So she tries to make a bargain with McCoy that she will save Jim's consciousness if he permits her to keep Dr. Mulhall's body for herself. McCoy is rightfully disturbed by that idea and refuses. Thalassa psychologically tortures McCoy with bisexual fire, but then realizes she's gone too far and repents. Sargon reveals himself as a disembodied voice. Apparently, he didn't need a vessel to inhabit after all. He and Thalassa seem to come up with some sort of plan. Mysteriously, Jim then comes back to his own body, and Thalassa seems to relinquish Mulhall's back to her. They realize that Hinoch's destroyed their containment orbs, including the one holding Spock's consciousness. With nothing to hold his mind, Spock's essence is gone. Jim tells Bones to make a poison to kill a Vulcan. Spock is gone, but they can't let Hinoch keep living in his body. On the bridge, Hinoch has hijacked the Enterprise and is torturing the crew who refuse to give in to him. So these people are basically gods now. Why did they even need the Enterprise's help in the first place? Hinoch orders Chapel to inject Bones with the poison hypospray, and instead Chapel injects him. Only, it's not Chapel at all. She's been the vessel for Spock this whole time! The only time Spock will ever be inside you, Christine. Hope you enjoyed it. I don't want to get into Strange New Worlds right now. Then when Hinoch tries to jump to another body, Sargon, I guess, kills him on the non-corporeal plane? Spock's essence is returned to his body, and Sargon and Thalassa share one last embrace before ascending and leaving the mortal plane forever, deciding that what should have ceased to be long ago should finally go gentle into that good night. I admit the execution for this episode is muddled. They just don't quite stick the landing with the ideas they're trying to play out, and the pacing is unbalanced. But regardless, I kind of like this one. Shatner, Nimoy, and Diana Muldaur are very interesting to watch in their dual roles, and it's nice to see Chapel be more than an afterthought in the plot's proceedings. As always, when there's a meaningfully named character, I like to research the significance of that name in historical context. Sargon most likely comes from Sargon of Akkad. No, God, not that Sargon! The real Sargon of Akkad was king of Mesopotamia in the 2060s BC. Sargon's voice outside of Kirk is supplied by none other than James Doohan, who sounds almost unrecognizable to those who only know him as Scotty. Thalassa is the Greek word for sea, also the Grecianized name for the primordial goddess of the seas. Hinoch is a variation of the name Enoch, one of the patriarchs that predated the Great Flood that wiped out the earth in the Book of Genesis. Enoch was also the father of Methuselah and is said to be one of the few to have entered heaven without dying first. The Hebrew meaning of the name Hinoch is to initiate or consecrate. Incidentally, there's a disease called Henoch-Schönlein purpura, which is an inflammation of the small blood vessels of the skin, joints, bowels, and kidneys. Lovely. But going back to the Book of Genesis for a moment, Thalassa's brief temptation to the dark side by Hinoch and trying to convince Sargon to agree with them is reminiscent of the story of Eve, Adam, and the serpent from the Garden of Eden. It's not unusual for a story about the only two surviving members of a species to draw inspiration from them. But I do enjoy the body possession musical chairs aspect of the episode, especially toward the end when it gets more crazy. I love a good body swap episode, and even though this didn't involve, I don't know, Spock inhabiting Bones' body or something, just as a random thought, it's an engaging plot thread to watch unravel. What a fun, light-hearted little episode. I wonder what story we're reviewing oh dear. Can I get back in the globe?